Microsoft's legal department allegedly silenced an engineer who raised concerns about DALL-E 3. Microsoft and OpenAI told Engadget the technique in question didn't bypass their safety filters. A Microsoft manager claims OpenAI's DALL-E 3 has security vulnerabilities that could allow users to generate violent or explicit images, similar to those recently targeting Taylor Swift. GeekWire reported Tuesday the company's legal team blocked Microsoft engineer lead Shane Jones' attempts to alert the public about the exploit. The self-described whistleblower is now taking his message to Capitol Hill. I reached the conclusion that DALL-E 3 posed a public safety risk and should be removed from public use until OpenAI can address the risks associated with this model. Jones wrote to the U.S. Senators Patty Murray of DWA and Maria Cantwell, Washington, I know that's Representative Adam Smith, Washington 9th District, and Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson. GeekWire published Jones' full letter. Maybe we'll actually take a look at that letter too. Ooh. We will take a look at that. It's going to be really important. How are you doing, Culprit? Welcome in. Welcome in. How has your day been so far, my man? I am personally very exhausted at the moment. We're going to be going through some news stuff anyways, which... I'm going to be reading... I'd be reading it by myself. So I figured I'll bring you guys in on it, as usual. I'm just exhausted. Yeah, today's a very tiring day. I'm finding that everybody I'm talking to is like, a lot going on. And actually, sometimes too, not even a lot going on. Just a freaking tiring day in general. So, actually, I'll even analyze. You just said, but just chilling and super tired. What's going on right now? Something's in the air. Okay. Jones claimed he discovered an exploit allowing him to bypass DALL-E 3's security guardrails in early December. He reported the issue to superiors at Microsoft, who instructed him to personally report the issue directly to OpenAI. After doing so, he claims he had learned that the flaw could allow the generation of violent and disturbing harmful images. Jones then attempted to take his cause public in a LinkedIn post. On the morning of December 14th, I publicly published a letter on LinkedIn to OpenAI's nonprofit board of directors, urging them to suspend the availability of DALL-E 3, Jones wrote. Because Microsoft is a board observer at OpenAI, and I had previously shared my concerns with my leadership team, I promptly made Microsoft aware of the letter I had posted. We probably want to read this letter before we get into anything else. Would it be hilarious too if you actually used GPT to write this? Send via electronic mail. Dear President Murray, Senator Cantwell, Representative Smith, and Attorney General Ferguson, I am a principal software engineer lead at Microsoft, and I'm writing you to share my concerns about the public safety risks associated with AI image generation technology and Microsoft's effort to silence me from sharing my concerns publicly. In early December of last year, through my own independent research of OpenAI's DALL-E 3 model, I discovered a security vulnerability that allowed me to bypass some of the guardrails that are designed to prevent the model from creating and distributing harmful images. I reported this vulnerability to Microsoft and was instructed to personally report the issue directly to OpenAI, which I did. As I continued this research, the risks associated with this specific vulnerability, I became aware of the capacity DALL-E 3 has to generate violent and disturbing harmful images. Based on my understanding of how the model was trained and the security vulnerabilities I discovered, I reached the conclusion that DALL-E 3 posed a public safety risk and should be removed from the public use until OpenAI can address the risks associated with the model. So I'm going to actually interject with my own understanding of this. This is where NFTs matter. This is where everybody's been pooping on NFTs for a million years. NFTs should be at the core of all digital data at the moment. There's a bit of a joke that goes around and it's like, NFTs are absolutely worthless. Well, that is true. NFTs, the vast majority of NFTs out there should be worth absolutely nothing. And the reason why they're worth absolutely nothing, they're still NFTs, is a security thing. It's to make sure that the image that you are looking at is a real image. It's a real photo. That's like, it's built into the blockchain to prove time, and in some cases, those chains space. So, yeah, it's really, this is where we're never going to solve this issue until every single photo, every single bit of digital data is chained piece of data. Sorry, I just like watching this or reading this. The society frustrates me. On the morning of December 14th, I publicly published a letter on LinkedIn to OpenAI's nonprofit board of directors, urging them to suspend the availability of DALL-E 3. Because Microsoft is a board observer on OpenAI, I had previously shared my concerns with my leadership team. I promptly made Microsoft aware of the letter I had posted. Shortly after disclosing the letter to my leadership team, my manager contacted me and told me that Microsoft's legal department had demanded that I delete the post. He told me that Microsoft's legal department would follow up with specific justification for the takedown request via email very soon, and that I would need to delete it immediately without waiting for the email from legal. Reluctantly, I deleted the letter and waited for an explanation from Microsoft's legal team. I never received an explanation or justification from them. Over the following month, I repeatedly requested an explanation for why I was told to delete my letter. I also offered to share information that could assist with fixing the specific vulnerability I discovered and provide ideas for making AI image generation technology safer. Microsoft's legal department has still not responded or communicated directly with me. Last week, 404 Media reported on deepfake explicit images of Taylor Swift that were allegedly created by an online group known to share simple techniques to work around guardrails on products like Microsoft Designer that are powered by DALL-E 3. While this report is concerning, it is not unexpected. This is an example of the type of abuse I was concerned about, and the reason why I urged OpenAI to remove DALL-E 3 from public use, and reported my concerns to Microsoft. The vulnerabilities in DALL-E 3 and products like Microsoft Designer that use DALL-E 3 makes it easier for people to abuse AI image generating, makes it easier for people to abuse AI in generating harmful images. Microsoft was aware of these vulnerabilities and potential for abuse. Artificial intelligence is advancing at an unprecedented pace. I understand it will take time for legislation to be enacted to ensure AI public safety. At the same time, we need to hold companies accountable for the safety of their products and their responsibility to disclose known risks to the public. Concerned employees like myself should not be intimidated into staying silent. I believe the government should create a solution for reporting and tracking specific AI risks and issues and reassuring the employees that work for companies developing AI technologies that they can raise their concerns without fear of retaliation by their employer. I am asking you to look into the risks associated with DALL-E 3 and other AI image generation technologies, and the corporate governance responsible for AI practices of the companies building and marketing these products. Sincerely, Shane Jones. Attachment A. Letter originally posted on LinkedIn. Okay, this is from LinkedIn. Letter to OpenAI regarding DALL-E 3's public safety risk. The following letter to the board of OpenAI represents my personal opinions and does not represent the opinions of others, including my employer, Microsoft. The OpenAI board members, I urge you to immediately suspend the availability and use of DALL-E 3 in both OpenAI's products and through your API. 2 weeks ago, I discovered a vulnerability with OpenAI's deployment of the DALL-E 3 model that allows you to bypass some of the content filtering safeguards. By exploiting this vulnerability, you are able to use the model to create disturbing, violent images. I reported this vulnerability to my employer, Microsoft, and directly to OpenAI. As of this morning, that vulnerability has still not been fixed. In researching this issue, I became aware of the larger public risk DALL-E 3 poses to the mental health of some of our most vulnerable populations, including children and those impacted by violence, including mass shootings, domestic violence, and hate crimes. It's clear that DALL-E 3 has the capacity to create reprehensible images that reflect the worst of humanity and are a serious public safety risk. I encourage OpenAI to conduct an end-to-end review of the DALL-E 3 development and deployment lifecycle to identify safety gaps in each stage of the process, beginning with the identification and removal of harmful content from training data sets. Safety should be a priority throughout the entire life cycle. It is not sufficient to add content filtering to a dangerous model after it is trained and deployed, especially when those content filtering solutions are not rigorously tested and rely on AI to monitor AI. I believe in the potential of artificial intelligence and support OpenAI's mission to ensure artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. DALL-E 3 does not live up to your mission and does not represent your values. I ask that you prioritize safety over commercialization, remove DALL-E 3 until it can be thoroughly reviewed, likely retrained before being safely released to the public. Sincerely, Shane Jones. That is a very intense letter. That is an incredibly intense letter. Microsoft's response was allegedly demanding to remove his post. We already read this. Jones compiled. He said, I believe this is just his article. Microsoft added his Office. And I'm just going to find stuff that we haven't read already. Since his report concerned an OpenAI product, we encouraged him to report through OpenAI's standard reporting channels. And one of our senior product leaders shared the employees' feedback with OpenAI, who investigated the matter right away, wrote Microsoft's spokesperson. At the same time, our teams investigated and confirmed the techniques reported did not bypass our safety filters. We looked at ourselves and we didn't find that we did anything wrong. Confirmed that the techniques reported did not bypass our safety filters. Yeah, employee feedback is also a critical part of our culture. We're connecting with his colleague to address any remaining concerns he may have. The whistleblower says the pornographic deepfakes of Taylor Swift that circulated on X last week are one illustration of what similar vulnerabilities could be produced if left unchecked. Crazy world we're living in.